Welcome to Your Pathway to the Emirates, our new podcast channel. Here we will explore exciting real estate opportunities across Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and other Emirates in the UAE. Beyond property, we'll also delve into important topics to support anyone considering a move to the UAE, covering schools, tax, visas, company setup, relocation, and lifestyle. Our goal is to provide a comprehensive, one-stop guide that helps you navigate every step of relocation or investment in this dynamic region. Stay tuned for insights that will empower your journey. So let's get started. Welcome to our podcast, and today we have Lisa from the CSP group again. Lisa, good to have you back on board.
Thanks, Jopesh. Very nice to be back.
And today, I know it's very, very hot there right now. I heard it's around 52 degrees, so I'm not sure how you're coping.
Yeah, sitting in AC, so I'm okay.
So this brings us on to, I think today we're going to be talking about transport in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. So I think we should start with cars, since that seems to be a bottleneck right now in some of the areas in Dubai. But I understand they're building new roads anyway to cope with that. So
Yes,
do you drive in Dubai, for example, yourself?
Yes, I do. I think it's preferable for, if you don't live close to a tram or, a convenient bus stop. I think in the outlying areas, like where I live, Damac Hills, in a lot of the villa communities, it's preferable to have a car. It just makes transport a lot easier. I'm not saying there are no buses or public transport in that area, but having a car in the outlying areas, if you're not in the main center of, the CBD, it is better to purchase a car. And all the big names are here, everything from Volkswagen to Jeep, Mercedes, you name it, you can get it here. Mazda, Hyundai are here, Kia. So there's a wide choice of places to buy new, used, pre-loved cars in the UAE.
And it's all left-hand drive as well, isn't it, there?
That is correct. Yeah, coming from South Africa, we right-hand drive. So it was quite a big adjustment for me to sit in the left-hand seat when I've been used to, driving for 20 years in South Africa in the right-hand seat. And a lot of the cars here are automatic, not so much manual, where in South Africa, it's always manual.
Okay.
Currently manual, yeah.
How long did it take you to get used to driving from one side to the other? Because obviously it's only the UK, Singapore, of South Africa, and I've forgotten which other country it is, but there's not many which are right-hand drive anyway.
No, there aren't. It took me a good while. It's the roundabouts that are the problem. You never know which way to go around because you think you're going to go right, but you're going left. Or left, but you're going right, for example. It took me a good while, a good few months just to get confident with that. And with a lot of traffic in Dubai these days, if you are a new driver, try and go out when it's quiet, not peak traffic hours if you can. Just to acclimatize and just get used to how how it works and practice roundabouts or traffic circles.
I suggest going with friends and just letting them shout at you and say, "Well, you did that wrong," and you soon get it sort of into you.
Yeah.
But is there a driving school or refresher school that they could take possibly, or is there something that's not really offered there right now?
No, 100%. Look, there's lots of driving schools around. A few of them are Galadari. There's Emirates Driving School, or Emirates Driving Institute rather. These are quite popular. You can. So a lot of people that come to the region cannot get a direct conversion of their driving license, so they would have to go to a driving school in order to do their driving license again. But yes, you 100% could go and get lessons if you just need somebody to just make sure you know what you're doing, on the road, even if you've managed to convert your driving license from your home country directly. That would be a good suggestion there, Jopesh.
Do you know which countries actually are direct license conversions and which aren't, or just the ones that are?
No, there's quite a long list. Like UK, America, Australia, South Africa. These are all the common ones that are direct conversions. India, Philippines. Like Sri Lanka, Pakistan, these are not direct conversions, and people would have to go and do a driving course.
Which does make sense actually, because I've been to most of these countries and I can understand the principles behind that. So that's great. That's great. And what about parking and fines? And there's also obviously you have to pay
tolls as well. How does that work? Because it's all on your Emirates ID, I understand.
Yeah, so look, if you have a car and you own you bought a car, you have to get a SALIC tag. So the main road down the UAE is called Sheikh Zayed Road, and it runs between Sharjah through to Abu Dhabi. And on that road, there are SALIC toll gates. So every few kilometers, you are billed a certain amount as you pass through, and your SALIC tag is in your windscreen, so it automatically registers that you've gone through a toll. You get a message to your phone. You've got to make sure there's enough money on your account in order to cover that toll fee. And if you don't, it gives you about 5 days in order to top up your account to clear that toll. If you don't, then you are fined. So once a year when you renew your car registration, you have to pay all your fines prior to being able to renew. And if you haven't paid haven't topped up in time, and you've, hits a fine from SALIC, that would be part of that payment as well. So fines are quite expensive here. Speeding to a certain limit is about 600 dirhams or 680 dirhams per speeding fine that you get. And I've had quite a few in my life. And a lot of cameras around as well. If you don't know the roads, stick to the speed limit. There is
Best policy,
isn't it? You can go up to like 19 kilometers over the speed limit, but rather stick to what it's telling you on the board, because, sometimes the flash goes off and you're like, but I wasn't even going that fast. But yeah, then you get a little message from Road and Transport Authority saying, you've been issued a fine. And I'm like, oh, no, not again. So
I think it's for our own safety, and I think it's a good thing to have, because when people see cameras and they're trying to dodge them, that's obviously not the right thing to do. Speed limits are there for a reason, and I think it's a good thing. I think if everyone obeys the speed limit, that way they can dynamically increase it as well as reduce it if needed. So exactly. I think it's good. I think that's great. So it's good to know that it's all automatic. It's all done via your Emirates card and everything else. So you know where you are. You get a whole statement, if you like, and I think it's not a bad thing. So that's great. So parking is the same, because I know there's different parking rules in different areas.
Yes, there are. So most of the time, there will be you can pay it on your phone. So there's a number that you put into your phone, and you basically put in your license plate number, whatever the zone is. There'll be a board with whatever the number is for that. You pop that in, how many hours you want to park there, and then it comes off your it just charges your phone basically, and that automatically deducts. So most areas you can park up to about 4 or 5 hours. Some communities like Jumeirah Lake Towers, maximum like 3. Some parts maybe 4 hours. There are some zones that you could park for up to 24 hours, but then you pay a flat rate of like 35 dirhams, I think, for the 24-hour period.
That's quite cheap as well. So it's not expensive.
Too bad. Yeah. No, parking here is pretty cheap. And then on the weekends, in most areas, there's no parking fees, so you can park for free. But you need to be aware that wherever you go, just make sure that you're checking for, a parking board, like an RTA board with the zone on it. And then you 100% need to make sure that you log that you are parking there for so many hours. And it sends you a reminder after if you select 2 hours, it sends you a reminder just before the 2 hours is up to say, do you want to renew? And then you just type in a Y for yes, and it automatically renews for another hour or whatever the case is. So yeah, all quite straightforward.
No, that's great. I understand some automatic ones as well now. So you can just park up. It automatically registers when you arrive and when you leave, and then it works out how much you've got to pay.
Yes, that's basically a lot of parking garages have that. It reads your number plate, and also parking areas where, like for an office park where it's an outdoor area. Scans your number plate. It sometimes doesn't work so well, but for the most part, it's pretty efficient and reliable. I remember getting caught in the rain and it wouldn't pick up my number plate. And one day that it rained in Dubai, right? It wouldn't pick it up, and I wouldn't pick it up, and I couldn't get in, and I had a hair appointment, and I eventually just cancelled the appointment and went home because the rain is flooding. I'm going to get stuck here, so I just cancelled. But that day, obviously with the rain and the water, it wasn't clearly reading the number plate. But anyway, carry on.
Valet parking, because that seems to be a very big thing there. Sometimes it's free, sometimes you have to pay for. Is it, or is it still?
Yes, that's true. Yeah, it depends which communities you're valeting in, and so for example, I I'm trying to think of the community. Anyway, you have to pay for certain valets, and it can be 25 to 50 dirhams potentially, depending on the length of time and what the community is. But hotels, it's always a free valet if you've got an event, or if you've got meetings in a hotel, free valet. Malls also do valet parking. If you don't want to get caught, trying to find a parking in amongst the sea of cars, you can always valet at the malls as well. Most of them offer valet parking.
Some of them sort of stamp the card or whatever, like they used to in America. So
yes, that's right. If you've eaten somewhere, or if you go to a restaurant and there's valet parking, you need to get it stamped, just so that you don't pay the fee. But if you purely just valeting, there's a fee in most instances.
No, I mean that's understandable, and I think that's a good service. I mean, I know here we've got places like obviously some of the shopping malls here you have to pay for parking, and I think it's ridiculous because you're going there to buy something or to eat something, and you're still having to pay quite extortionate rates to park.
Exactly, because it's per hour, right? For
Yeah.
the most part. I know, I agree with you. I don't believe that's really a fair...
we're looking at £6 to £8 an hour here in the UK, and I think that sometimes puts you off, and I think that's because they want to move you to London Transport. But when London Transport isn't air-conditioned, it goes wrong now and again, you still want the freedom to use your car, and also you've got to carry the shopping.
Correct.
So you're thinking to yourself, how am I going to do this?
Transport if you've got shopping, no, a million bags. You need a car and a boot and whatever the case is. But no, I agree with you. I think it's ridiculous if people charge for shopping centre parking.
Yeah. Well, Dubai is all about, and Abu Dhabi is all about lifestyle, and that's why it's all being catered for. So that's a good thing.
Yes.
So then we've got to talk about people without cars. So maybe we'll go on to the rail system there.
Yeah. So obviously we've got the metro, which services quite a large part of the community at the moment. There's a few different lines, but yeah, it is very popular for a lot of people. For example, our office is based in Bay Square in Business Bay, because a lot of our my colleagues don't have their own cars. They all live close to public transport, so. Being downtown, Business Bay kind of area, you're close to the metro, you're close to, there's little buses that also service, like the little, I don't know what you want to call them. We used to have them at Emirates, they used to fetch us as crew, but they basically service quite a few communities that aren't too close to the metro, and they'll fetch a lot of people in and around communities, from the offices after work, and drop them close to where they live. So there's numerous ways of getting around besides having a car. The metro is the most popular. You can get something called the NOL card, NOL, and this allows you to use most forms of public transport. In Dubai Marina, there's a tram system to help you get from certain locations to the metro stops, and that runs sort of around the marina area. There's also water transport, the dhows that take you across the creek and things like that.
Yeah, the traditional ones are still 1 dirham only.
Yeah, it's so nice.
Yeah,
it's such a nice little trip. My mum was recently visiting, and we took a little trip down the creek. It was just the two of us on this old dhow, and it was amazing. So
it's a good photo moment and video opportunity, really. But the rail, you've got the metro, obviously, and the buses, they're all air-conditioned. Even the stops are air-conditioned, which is quite great.
Correct.
You just go into a little enclosure, don't you, and it's all nice and comfortable.
Yes.
And I think you've got the red line currently, which goes from Expo 2020 to Centre Point. So it covers Terminals 1 and 2 as well for the DXB airport, not the new airport that's being built.
No, not the new airport.
But that's Discovery Gardens, Internet City, Mall of Emirates, Business Bay. Then you've got the green line, which is Dubai Creek, Al Jadaf, Bridge Dubai, Gold Souk, and Terminal 2, DXB.
Correct, yes.
And I think there's 2 new lines being developed. I think there's obviously the blue line, which I think comes in from 2029.
Yes.
Which is Masara, Dubai Creek, Festival City, Silicon Oasis, Academic City. And then you've got the gold line, which is in planning stages, which is going to run parallel to the red line.
That is correct.
So again, this is going to be great because, adding 2 new lines.
A total of 131 kilometers, basically, comprising of 68 stations and 168 trains. So that's amazing. so many big, exciting things,
Mm.
Look, I love the UK. I love the underground. I love using it when I lived there. Um, I don't use the metro much. I think I've been on it twice. But there are different, there's different areas as well. You can also pay for, a gold class, if you would. But and there's also ladies section, so that's
Yeah,
always nice
yeah.
for ladies.
I mean, the only thing I think about with the rail in the metro there is just it stops quite often. So you
Yes.
have to figure out with Google Maps to see if the car's going to be quicker or the metro is going to be quicker,
Right. And
if the
I
time is a
think a
constraint.
car is going to be quicker, to be fair, because a lot of the time people get the metro, then they still have to get a bus from the metro to wherever they're going. So then they have to also plan it, and coordinate what the next bus pickup's going to be so that they have time,
Mm.
based on the metro timings of when they could catch the bus. So I think having a car is by far easier. But, obviously not everybody is in a position to get a car or doesn't have a driving license or whatever the case is. Maybe they don't like driving. I don't particularly like driving most days, especially during peak traffic times. So I can see the benefits of the metro, but then you also, crammed in with a lot of people because everybody's going home at the same
Yeah.
time. So,
But then
uh,
you got great taxi services there. So I know you got Uber.
yes,
Then you got the obviously Dubai taxi as well, which has got their
yes,
own app. Kareem's
that's right.
there.
And there's Hala, which is usually it's a Dubai taxi will fetch you, but it's on Careem app. You can select different types of taxi services. So
Mm.
anything from a fancy smancy taxi service to just a Hala taxi, which is just a conventional RTA taxi. And obviously there's a big price difference in what you choose. So the
Yeah,
Hala
yeah.
is going to be the more affordable option. But once again, during peak office hours and home time, weekends when it's going to be brunch. During those timings, you'll notice that the fees increase to off-peak times when,
Ah, okay.
yeah.
But I mean,
So,
even the taxis there aren't the when you say the reasonable ones, they're still going to be Lexuses and good vehicles. They're nothing you expect from other countries. So
no,
they're still nice
100%.
cars, all air
Yeah,
conditioned.
yeah. I mean, I
Yeah,
see even RTA has some Teslas,
yeah.
they are, they really are expanding their fleet,
Hmm.
if you will. And then obviously the Ubers and the Careems, like the upmarket Careem options, always a really nice car, always smells nice, always clean, pleasant drivers always. So it's nice, but it does get pricey. If you don't have a car and you're only going with taxis, you are going to, see a dent in your wallet. It's not like it used to be. In 2003, taxis were the cheapest way to get around. But these days, not so much. But still very, there's taxis everywhere. Everywhere you look, you can see a taxi. So
Yeah.
um, never short of one, Unless you're in an emergency and in a rush, then there's nobody around. But, that's, Murphy's Law. So, but yeah,
And the other
very,
American part of the Dubai scenery is the school buses.
oh,
So
yes.
tell me a bit about those. I mean, obviously they run from every school to they pick up points, or how does that work? And
Okay, well, most schools will service most popular expat communities and other communities, but they don't go to every single area. So sometimes, you might not be able to get a school bus if you live in a certain community. I can't think of any off the top of my head because most people would live in close proximity to where the child's going to school and in a community where there's other expats whose children probably go to those schools. So, they do service most areas, but the thing is with the buses is they start really early. So sometimes if your child's the first pickup, it might be like an hour and a half before the child gets to school with all the other stops, post where you live. So as convenient as a school bus can be, it takes a lot of time out of the day for the child, and on the way back as well. If they were the
mm.
first pickup, they're going to be the last drop off, you know, in
So
most
there's something
instances.
to consider, which is something that
Yes,
should be on your radar when picking a school and picking a
correct. And where you
transport
want to
system.
live.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And if you're going to maybe rather take your child one way and just have them picked up or dropped off in the afternoon, and do it that way so the child's not stuck on a school bus for hours during the day.
Mm, mm.
But they always have the driver, and then usually they've got um, like a assistant on the bus, just, to make sure everybody's okay. School buses are frequent, they're everywhere, and all schools have school buses, and they do service majority of the communities. But like I said, just in terms of timings and the length of time the child's on the bus, that would, be a factor for people to consider, if at all possible. If it's
Yeah.
not possible and the child's got to do it, the child's got to do it. But yeah, they're around. It's actually really nice at the moment. There's no buses on the roads. It also takes away, from a lot of the traffic during the mornings. Because there's always a million school buses. Well, exaggeration there, but yeah, loads of school buses in my community. And everywhere you look, there's always a yellow little bus. It's got the name of the school on the back of it, and
It's quite nice to see. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Same as my dog. He goes to school and they fetch him in a bus as well. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow,
They come to
okay.
my house, fetch him at 6 a.m, drop him off in the afternoon. So same thing for pets. Not comparing pets to children, but there's buses for everybody these days, even
Excellent.
pets.
And obviously, Abu Dhabi is less prone to traffic and everything else. And
But it's getting busier there, so I feel like that's not gonna be that true soon, because a lot of people are considering Abu Dhabi as a destination now, to set up their business, to move to. I've heard the traffic has got somewhat busier in Abu Dhabi compared to what it was. But yeah, pretty much not as bad as Dubai, but still it's picking up considerably.
And to drive from Dubai to Abu Dhabi is around an hour and 15 minutes, would you say right now?
Yes, or maybe it depends how fast you drive and if you're sticking to the speed limits. Maybe an hour and a half just to give yourself a bit of extra time.
Okay.
But yeah.
And then obviously with the new Emirates Rail coming up, which is going to reduce that time to around 45 minutes, I believe.
I think people are going to ready that.
That's going to be a good project when that's finished as well.
Yeah, 100%. You know how many people drive from Sharjah and Dubai to Abu Dhabi every day? It's crazy. And I actually had a job in Abu Dhabi for a while, and after that first week, I was like, no, I can't be doing this every day.
But that's quite funny because, in the UK, you travel to work an hour to an hour and a half is normal. And then everyone moves to Dubai or to America or UAE or wherever else, and they say, no, we're only going to travel 20 minutes, 30 minutes. That's the maximum we're prepared to travel.
Yes.
And that comes from having a better lifestyle, because suddenly you have choices. And in the UK, not only do you not have the choice, you just stick with your hour and a half travel.
Yeah, that's your life, right? That's what you're used to. Yeah.
So it's quite strange, because normally you think from Dubai to Abu Dhabi, what's the problem? It's only an hour and a half or an hour.
Exactly.
We can do that every day. But,
yeah, I know.
That still changes.
I know. But the thing is, with there's a lot of highway driving in the UAE, right? So you do tend to get to places a lot quicker, because even though it's 40 kilometers away, you can get there in like 15 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, because you can go 120, or some areas you can go 130. So you get there a lot quicker, even though you've traveled quite a distance. It's reduced because you're driving quite fast. You're not going 60 or 70 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
You're doubling that. So it does. Yeah. So when people are saying, like, for me, it's what's it like? I can't think now, but it's 35 to 40 minutes from where I live to work every day, and back is the same. But that's because I'm on highways every stretch of the way, except getting out of my community, where it's speed limit 60 or 40 in some parts, But once you're on the main roads, you do save your time.
I understand some of the communities getting in and out of is quite difficult. So Arabian Ranches has been like that until they open up the other part of it. But I think it's still being planned. So they're looking at where there are bottlenecks, and they are changing them, which is nice. I mean, I'm used to the same bottlenecks here for 20 years, so
and they haven't changed them.
No, they make them worse. They just make them worse. I think we like to just make it really complicated here, but that's the UK life, and that's why we promote the UAE life rather than here.
Yeah, 100%.
And then obviously you've got other things happening there. You've got the driverless taxis in Abu Dhabi already in place.
Yes, exciting things. There's so many exciting things coming. I was looking at earlier, like skypods, rail buses, self-driving taxis. They're all exciting future developments, and it's very exciting. A little bit scary, but and then they're also talking about like I don't know, like not drones.
They've started, I think.
Maybe there's
And
drones, right?
yeah, they
Like
have.
taxi services, yeah.
They've done the helicopter drones, which are with a pilot currently, and I think they're
Yes.
going to be pilotless soon when everything's being cleared.
But I'm just
That's
wondering what
probably
they're
quite
going to cost.
scary for us, right? But I think it should be. It's thinking about the future. I mean, this is great because imagine getting to any part of the city within 10, 15 minutes, and then you've got the Hyperloop. Elon
And
Musk, although we may, not really talk about Elon, but his technology of the Hyperloop could bring down the time from Abu Dhabi to Dubai to 12 minutes.
no, it's crazy. Isn't that
And
crazy?
they're looking at completing that by 2030 possibly.
Which is
So
only 5 years from now.
yeah, and can you imagine? Would you go into Hyperloop going at 1,200 miles an hour into a little capsule?
I'm not sure. I'd have to let people try it first for a while, and then maybe in 2035 I'd try it. I don't
Yeah,
know.
so you'd be going by drone, you'd be going by Hyperloop. Everything, you'd be in one place to another within 6 minutes, I think. So
Almost like Back to the Future has now come become real. You know, the movie Back to the Future.
I think so. Hoverboards will be next. So let's see what happens. Well, I think we've covered everything with transport. It's been a great little talk, actually. So hopefully everyone's enjoyed this session today on transport in the UAE, and hopefully you join us for the next one. Remember to follow. Remember to tell your friends about us because obviously we want this message to get around as far as possible. But thank you again, Lisa, for your time. And I think we had a great little session today on the transport in the UAE.
I agree with you. Thank you very much for having me again.
No problem.
Thank you for listening to Your Pathway to the Emirates podcast. We believe that by staying connected with our podcast and social media channels, you will gain valuable knowledge and stay abreast of the latest developments that may be of interest to you, whether you are an investor, enthusiast, or professional in the industry. Do drop us an email on info@elevation88.com if you wish us to cover any particular topics. So please follow, subscribe, and stay tuned for our upcoming episodes and updates as we continue to bring you engaging and informative content.